in one day on lives, what was the most you ever made?
Yeah, so one day the most was $8.2 thousand in one day, and I was just kind of saying random stuff about this supplement, and I kind of started to like create like a script, I guess, in my head, and I ended up doing in 4 hours. I was going like nuts. I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. I did like just almost $2,500 in commissions. I like live streams because it's like every single day you can basically turn it on, and if you have the right product and it's popular right then, you can just make money every single day. And when I end that stream, my job is over. No one's gonna talk to me. No one's following up with me. I don't have to ship anything. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm like, this is awesome.
All right, you guys, we have a super special guest today. We have Cole with us. Cole has made over $50,000 a month the last 3 months going live on TikTok Shop. So without further ado, Cole, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Now excited to talk TikTok Shop and especially live streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to start off, how did you find out about or get into TikTok Shop?
Yeah, so I actually was looking back at some videos and stuff. I've actually been doing it longer than I thought. But I started in August of last year. I didn't get into TikTok, but I started doing an Amazon influencer program, which is basically making review videos for different platform. And then just being in some groups, I saw some people start posting about TikTok Shop. People, it was kind of late last year, like November, December time. People started like putting up, they were making, a couple $1,000s to like 10, 20, $30,000. So I was like, okay, I'll just repurpose some of my review videos and put them on TikTok. Obviously, it's like a totally different platform, so it didn't really work. But I kind of got introduced to it. And then in February, I kind of was like, all right, I'm going to focus more on this. Tried to make a bunch of videos. Nothing really took off. And then kind of around that like March, April time, I started experimenting with the live streaming. And then April is when it started kind of picking up. And until now it's August, beginning of August. So yeah, it's been knew about it for a little bit, but didn't really start focusing on it for until like the last probably 3.5 months.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of started hitting your stride in April with the live streaming once you started doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just kind of some trial and error. I can talk about some of the products I tried doing live streaming, and a lot of stuff. Just like I just didn't know really what I was doing. I was just picking random products that I would just like get for free off of TikTok, because obviously as an affiliate, a lot of affiliates to TikTok, their house is full of just free products and stuff. So I was just kind of testing out products, and then I kind of started figuring out what products would actually do well on live streams, and yeah, kind of started hitting my stride late April, and then kind of just kept pushing it through May, June, and July time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So were you working when you started like doing TikTok Shop, or you were kind of just like in between, like, hey, I'm going to see if this TikTok Shop thing works out for me?
No, so yeah, I actually, I have a full time job. So my job is I work for a sales group. We work in the outdoor industry. So I work for some fairly large companies as a sales rep. So I already do sales. I work for Hydro Flask, Smartwool, so some pretty big companies in the outdoor industry. But through my job, it's pretty flexible where I work from home, and I travel a lot for work. So there's seasonal times in the year when I'm traveling. So you might not see me on a stream for like 3 days, and then you might see me every single day for 4, 5, 6 hours because I'm back home and I'm just not working as much. So I still work full time, but I just work from home and I travel a lot for work. So I take these like little gaps and stuff. But yeah, when I first started learning about TikTok, I kind of had this gap in my work schedule. So I had a lot of free time. So I was able to really just start pushing the live streams once I found a product that was working for me, and just continue to do it. And it just kept growing the more I did it, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's wild. I had no idea that you still worked like a full-time job as well. So the fact that you've been able to see the amount of success you have while also still working full time is just absolutely insane. Um, so you've been doing TikTok Shop then since you said February, is that right? April?
Yeah, I actually uploaded my first video in November, but it would just
Okay.
repurpose videos from from the other platforms. So I repurposed some videos, put them up on TikTok, hoping they would get some views. And back then, actually in November time, anytime you actually posted a TikTok Shop video, you got 5,000 views guaranteed. Like it seemed like every single time he posted anything. So like those videos, even though they were terrible, made no sense for the platform because they were repurposed from a different platform that wouldn't have worked on TikTok. They all got like 5,000 views. They didn't get any sales. And then in February and then March, I think I started just trying to like, I saw someone go viral making a dog leash. There was like this like kind of retractable, not retractable, but a bungee dog leash. And I saw someone go viral with it and they made like $10,000 off a video. So I was like, okay, I can do that. So I copied their video and then I made like 30 variations of that video, made 0 sales. And then I did find, I found a couple products where I'd make a few sales on. I was like, okay, there's something here. But the videos it just wasn't working for me. I couldn't figure out, like I was copying viral videos. Those weren't working. I would create my own video that I thought was funny and I would add, different products that I thought were like trendy and stuff. And yeah, just nothing was really working.
Yeah, we had kind of the same experience with videos. It's so funny that you say that. Did you see the video of the guy that made 10 grand with the dog leash? Did you see that on YouTube by chance?
Um, I think there was multiple guys. I think there was 2 guys. I did see one guy on YouTube who did it, and then there was also a guy who was in the original program I was in for the other platform. He was he actually did like 10 grand on that dog leash as well. And then they had the dog leash where it like split into 2 dogs so they could like kind of walk around each other and it didn't tangle up. And then he did like another 10 grand on that one. I was like, this is so easy. And then I just kept trying to post videos and yeah, nothing was happening.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because that one of the guys that did the dog leash video, like he made a video about it on YouTube, and that was like one of my first introductions to TikTok Shop was seeing that guy's video talking about the dog leash. Then I ended up watching a bunch of other TikTok Shop videos, and that's kind of how I got into it. But so I guess what was your first full month of going live? Was that kind of April, or was March your first full month going live?
Yeah, it was probably April. So when the videos weren't really working in February and March, I was like, okay, I'll try going live. So I started, and I like personally, I do like a lot of like fitness stuff. My TikTok account was actually just like a fitness account that I was able to grow to like 14,000 followers. And then I kind of stopped using it. But when I heard about TikTok Shop, I was like, oh, I don't really care about this account anymore. I'm just going to use it for TikTok Shop. So I started just uploading just random videos, not like fitness related stuff. But then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get a bunch of products and request them on TikTok, like through the affiliate program. So get a bunch of free workout equipment like bands, pull-up bar, dumbbells, everything. So I just ordered a bunch of stuff and I was like, I'm just going to work out and I'm just going to pin the product down below. That way I can get my workout in and maybe I'll make some money off of these. It didn't really work. I was getting like maybe 5 to 10 viewers. It was just chaotic. I don't think anyone was really watching that much. So I tried doing that. And then that's also when creatine gummies were like super popular. So I was like, okay, I'll do this. So I put the creatine gummies on like a little stand and then I had myself in the background. And I did that a few times and I would get like upwards of like 20 to 30 viewers. And I think I did like in like 2.5 hours, I did like $250 in sales. And I was like, okay, this is earning commissions. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Like I made $100 per hour doing this. So I did that twice. And then I kind of came to learn that product was actually kind of a scam. So I was like, all right, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to promote this product anymore. So then I tried a couple other, but it was all like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I wasn't in a group. I didn't know anyone else who was doing this. So I was just kind of picking random products and I was like, I'll just go live with it. And then this is kind of random, but I went to Hawaii. I visited my friend and I was kind of looking through his supplements and stuff because we're both just into fitness. We're into like supplements. And I saw he had vitamin D3 and K2. And I was like, oh, what's this? He's like, oh, well, you need the K2 in there to transport vitamin D3. And I'm like, oh, you do? I had no idea. And I was like, okay. And I didn't even know that was going viral on TikTok. So I just ordered it. I went on TikTok. I typed it in. I was like, oh, this has like a bunch of sales. I'll order this. So I got like a free sample sent to me. And then when I got home from Hawaii, one night, I just like took out my phone. I just pointed it, faceless right at the vitamin D3 and K2. And I didn't realize, but it was on a commission bonus too. So I think it was like $9 per sale or something like that. Because sometimes TikTok will do these bonuses on certain products. And I just started going live with it. And within like probably 20 to 30 minutes, for some reason, I just started getting like hundreds of people in my live stream. And then eventually it shot up to like over 1,000 people in there. And I was just kind of saying random stuff about this supplement. And I kind of started to like create like a script, I guess, in my head. And I ended up doing in 4 hours. I was going like nuts. I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. I did like just almost $2,500 in commissions that first time with vitamin D3 and K2. And then from there, I was like, okay, there's something to this live stream thing. But at that point, I'd probably live stream like I don't know, 30 times or something like that, maybe but like short streams. Like I do it for like 20 minutes, not really knowing that you had to go longer or anything like that. But that was when I first found the success was the vitamin D3 K2.
Yeah, and it's like once you have that first stream where you really make like a significant amount of money, at that point you're like, all right, it's on. We're gonna like figure this out, and we're gonna either find like a better product, or we're just gonna dial down, on what we're doing right now and just kind of maximize it. So, so that stream on the vitamin D3 K2, was that like kind of month 2, or was that still within the first month there?
I would say that's probably month 2 because like March was when I think it was like mid-March is when I kind of started doing some live streaming, but I was doing it like every couple of days. I'd pick a random product or I would just be working out. Like there on some of my early streams, I would put creatine. I would be on an exercise bike and I put creatine just right there and I would just have it pinned down below and I'd just be working out. And I actually made a couple of sales and I would be like, all right, I'm doing an hour on the bike. I might as well just have this creatine sitting here and I'll talk about it while I'm biking. And I'd make a couple of sales. But it was also super loud, tons of background noise from the bike and everything. So yeah, this was probably about a month in of doing the live streaming, where I found the vitamin D3 K2, kind of just randomly though.
Yeah, that's funny how you found it, because at the time that was like a peak viral product on TikTok, so the timing couldn't be better for you to like find it, end up going live with it. What would you say, like kind of early on in terms of lives, what would you say your biggest struggles were? I mean, it sounds like you kind of were just like, just kind of messing around with it 20, 30 minutes, try different products, that type of thing. But what would you say, I guess, in the beginning, once you started getting serious, what would you say your biggest struggles were?
Yeah, probably just like picking the right product. I just didn't know what I was doing. Like I wouldn't even look at the sales data on the products. I was picking random products that I just thought were cool. When I think now looking back on it, I'm like, I wouldn't have done a lot of those products. I'm like, they just don't have like the sales behind them to justify getting on live and doing them and expecting people to actually buy them. And then just knowing what to say, honestly, because I don't know, I found that easy, but it was easy for me to come up with things to say, but I didn't really realize that you could get violations. So I had no idea about this whole violation thing. The first time I went live with the vitamin D3 and K2, I think I got like a 3-point violation, but it was just like a warning, or it was like a warning, and I got like a 3-point violation. I was like, okay, like that's all right. And then the next time I went live with it, I did like an hour and a half. I got like a 6-point violation, and then and this was like the next day. So I did like 90 minutes. I made like another $600. And I'm like, all right, this is awesome. But I'm like, I can't keep doing this because if you hit that 24 violation points, your account is done. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to like say stuff without getting these exaggerated claim or talking about benefits of the supplement and getting these violations. So eventually I just got to the point where I was just literally just reading the package. And I would just, and my sales were like, I'd get the same amount of viewers, but my sales were way worse just because I wasn't really talking. I was just literally just like reading the package. And I would get sales and stuff. But just like, I don't know. I just had no one to like bounce things off of and like be like, hey, I'm getting violations. Like, what should I be doing to like still get sales, but not get these like violations and stuff? Because I just didn't know what you could say, what you couldn't say.
Yeah, and it's always evolving too. Like what you can say today, it could be completely different tomorrow. Like TikTok can just change their algorithm, on a whim, and all of a sudden something that was fine before, now all of a sudden TikTok has a problem with it. So especially with supplements, it's a super slippery slope. But there's obviously like a ton of upside with supplements. They sell really well. That's obviously been my kind of category of choice. But so you kind of started crushing it with the D3, and then you're like, all right, this whole violation thing is kind of a problem. Did you make a product change at that point?
Yeah, like it was still going well. Like I was still like every time I'd log in, I think it was just because I'd shown that I'd gotten some good like conversions. I'd done some good sales. So every time I logged in with the vitamin D3 and K2, I'd always get like a ton of sales. I'm like, this is great. Like I was like, every time I do this, I can make money. But I was like, I just can't keep doing this because I kept getting like 3 or 6 point violations. And I knew my money was like pending too in TikTok. So I was like, I don't want it to get like, I didn't really know how it worked. I was like, I don't want it to be frozen where my account's banned. I can't get this money anymore. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to stop doing this. And I stopped doing it. And I think within like that first like week, I did make like 7, 8, maybe $9,000 off the vitamin D3 and K2. So I was like, this is crazy. Like I've never made this amount of money in 1 week. So I was like, there's definitely something here, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a break. And then I need to figure out like what my next product is. And again, I didn't have anyone to bounce any ideas off of or anything like that. I didn't know anyone else that was doing any of this stuff. I didn't know there was groups or courses or anyone explaining any of this stuff at all. But I started getting like tons and tons of emails from companies just reaching out to me and just being like, hey, will you promote our product? If you're a TikTok Shop affiliate, you'll get so many emails, especially I had my email in my bio. So I'd get so many emails, and then randomly I just like read one of the emails and it was about these ice makers. And again, I'd kind of seen a bunch of people when I was going through my live streams that were promoting ice makers. I was like, all right, like I could probably do that. That seems pretty easy. And then in the email, they were like, we'll send you like a couple of free ice makers. You have to go live for 20 hours a week. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I like, if it doesn't work, I'm just not going to do it. Like, what are they going to do? You know,
Yeah,
I was like, if I think I told them, I was like, what if I don't get any viewers? And they're like, just do 20 hours a week. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just like, we're like, yeah, send them to me. So they sent them to me. And then that's basically, that was probably like, 5-6 days after I stopped doing the vitamin D3 and K2. So I didn't do any live streams. And then I got those ice makers. And then that was basically at the very end of April. Yeah, very end of April is when I did my first live stream on ice makers. And at that point, a bunch of people were already doing really well with ice makers. I just didn't really know it.
yeah, that's crazy. So how much did you make in your first full month of doing the ice makers?
Well, so I think in April I made $9,000, but that most of that was through the vitamin D3 and K2. And I think only like the last day of April was the only day I did the ice makers. I think it was like the very last day of April. And then all of May I did ice makers. And during that month I did over $40,000 in commissions. So I think I finished with an estimated commissions of $41,100 that first full month of doing ice makers.
Yeah, and that was probably, I mean, you already kind of like knew the potential when you did the D3. You're like, hey, I just made 9 grand in a week. Like we can make a lot of money doing this. And then you go a full month with the ice makers, make 41 grand. At that point, I'm sure you're like, all right, we're just going to keep just hammering this out and just ride this thing as long as it keeps, basically printing money for you. What was the most you made in a day? Doesn't have to be in May, but just in one day on lives, what was the most you ever made?
Yeah, so one day the most was $8.2 thousand in one day.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even make that in a month at their day job. So for you to be able to, sit at home with your, phone out and some products and make 8K is just ridiculous. It's stupid.
Yeah, so crazy. Whenever I tell anyone about it, they're like, that is insane. Like they're like, that makes no sense. They're like, I was just like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, like, but if you look at like the stats, like I had like 180,000 people join my live stream that day and I sold like over 400 products. So honestly, when you look at how many people I sold to how many I actually sold, like it's very, very little people actually bought them. But you don't need that many people if you are getting sent a lot of traffic.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about TikTok Shop Lives, right? Like videos are fantastic if you can like figure it out, but with lives, like you're just getting a ton of traffic day one. Like you hit live, you get people coming in, you have opportunities to make sales, and to get in front of 100 and you said 180,000 visitors to your live is just crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
like if you were to pay for that in marketing dollars, it would be so expensive, and you just get it for free You don't have to ship the products or do anything like that. You literally just sit there, make sales, and then you would draw your commissions once the products are delivered. I mean, it's just a crazy opportunity.
It's nuts. Yeah. And that's the like, and the craziest thing is like, I come from a sales background. You don't need to come from a sales background. Like this is totally different sales to any other sales I do. But in my regular sales job where I work for these bigger companies and stuff, when I get orders from people, that's just like where my job starts. Afterwards, there's going to be follow-ups. I got to be on the phone with these people. I got to make sure all the shipments actually get shipped out, all that stuff. If there's any errors, I got to deal with all this stuff. With TikTok, it's like, especially with with videos, it's even simpler. I just don't think I like live streams because it's like every single day you can basically turn it on. And if you have the right product and it's popular right then, you can just make money every single day. And when I end that stream, my job is over. No one's going to talk to me. No one's following up with me. I don't have to ship anything. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm like, this is awesome. And then you just have to wait a couple days or like a week, 2 weeks max, and then you get all your money.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. No emails, no customer service. Like you clock in when you want, you clock out when you want, and you make a ton of money doing it. What would you say the one thing was like strategy wise that really kind of helped you, get to where you're at now with your success in lives?
Yeah, so it's a lot of things, but it's definitely like the first live I did with ice makers, I definitely saw some good potential with it. So the first live I did was probably like 2 hours, and I did I don't know, I got like 17, 18 sales or something in like 2 hours. I think I did like just over $300 in commissions. So I definitely saw like some good and not everyone sees that like initial success with a product. And sometimes you have to stick with it for 3, 4, 5 days, going on for at least like 90 minutes to start seeing some good viewership and stuff. But I saw some decent viewership on that first day, 80 to 100 people, starting at like maybe 10, 20, 30 people. And then it started growing as I started making a couple sales. But then fast forward like a couple weeks later, I was getting minimum like 5, 6, 700 people in my live stream. Like sometimes I would turn it off and I'd have 1,000 people in there, and I'd be like, should I really be turning this off right now? Like this is crazy. But a lot of it is just staying consistent with the product. That was huge. And then what actually increased my conversions and my sales the most was watching other people who were doing ice makers. So I would find other people, and I guess not even just ice makers, but I'd watch other people's live streams. If they had 3, 4, 500 people in there, I'd just watch what they were doing. And I'd basically just, at the bottom of your screen, you can see when people are viewing the cart. And I would just be like, okay, 5 people just viewed the cart. What did they just say? Like, 10, 15 seconds earlier that prompted all those people to go view the cart. And I would just kind of listen to what they're saying and stuff, kind of write down some notes, and just studying other streamers and watching those, the people viewing the cart, that helped a ton. And honestly, I learned so much from some other like top streamers and stuff, and just implemented that into my streams.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is fantastic advice. I did the exact same thing, right? Like the first point you made, staying consistent. It's not pretty, it's not sexy, but it just works, especially if you have a good product. If you stay consistent with it and you have a decent script, eventually like you're going to start getting more traffic, you're going to start making more sales. And then the other point too, on just watching what other people are doing. I mean, I did that as well. Like I would just watch other streams, even if they weren't the same product that I was doing. And I would just see like, little things that they're doing to try and create urgency, ways that they're explaining the product, ways that they're kind of getting people to get into that checkout process, all of those types of things. And I would try and, just take those little nuggets and implement it into what I was doing. So that is fantastic advice. So hopefully the people are watching right now are writing those down, because if you do those two things, like you're going to be far ahead of so many of those streamers out there. What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned just in terms of being a TikTok affiliate and going live?
Yeah, I would say like after making $150,000, essentially most of that being on the ice makers over the last 3 months, if things are going well, put in the hours, essentially. So I probably saw around the same time that I was doing all this, like when I started in May, June, at the beginning of May, there was probably, and they were all guys, but it was about 4 or 5 other guys that were doing ice makers that were doing really well. They just like they would just stop after like 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, okay, like, why do they keep like stopping? Like, I know they're making really good money. And I think a lot of those, like, there was, of those like 3, 4, 5 guys, like I made in that 3 month period, I made $150,000. I think they all probably made like $30,000, $40,000. So still great money, but they just didn't push it. I think when you find a product, you don't know necessarily when you're going to find another product that's going to do as well. So when you do eventually find that product, which through trial and error, you will eventually find a product that has really good commissions. It's trendy, popular. You come up with a script where you're able to really push this product. Once you find that, just keep going. Put in like some big hours and stuff because you don't know when it's going to be gone. But I was not like a special case. There was definitely other people doing it at the same time. I just made the most money because I spent the most time on streaming. So put in the hours essentially.
Yeah, that's a big lesson. And a lot of us, we take for granted like the money that we're making and how easy it is when we're like kind of like have found our stride with a product and with our script and all that thing. Like looking back, I mean, I've had this conversation so many times with people. It's just like, and a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, you don't know when that run is going to end. And looking back now, like when I had my run with my last two products, I'm like, damn, I should have put in 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Instead, I was doing 2 or 3 hours a day, like those, the other guys that were doing ice makers, right? And then it comes to an end. Like my first winning product, got taken off TikTok Shop. My second winning product, like just other stuff has come up, so I've just been busier with that. But I'm like, man, looking back, I wish I would have gone more than 2 or 3 hours every day because I would have made so much more money. So I think that is phenomenal advice. And last question, Cole, what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out with TikTok Shop and wanting to, kind of get serious with live streams, wanting to kind of like have that be their thing? Maybe they've done videos and just haven't seen the success with it, or maybe they're even seeing success with videos, but they want to just stack live streams on top of that. Somebody that wants to just get started with it.
I would start with just trying it. You got to get your feet wet with it. So I would just like try it with a product, whatever you have like around, just to try it, just for fun. Don't expect too much from it, especially like in the beginning. If you do want to take it like seriously and stuff, then you're going to want to be picking products that are going to be like basically top 20 trending products on TikTok. That's going to be your best chance at like having success with getting viewers. Getting viewers and stuff. If you don't, it's just tricky, like getting your like feet wet with it. And I feel like that's what helped me. So when I eventually found like the vitamin D3 and then I found the ice makers afterwards, I'd already done about 30 random streams where I hadn't made any money. Like I guess I had the creatine where I made like $250 in like 2 hours and stuff. But for the most part, I didn't make very much money on any of that stuff. So I would just mess around with it a couple times, just kind of see how it goes. And then if you do want to take it like more seriously and stuff, we definitely, there is the program, the Live Academy through Social Army, where in there you're going to actually learn, you're going to get like scripts on the top products. So you can just read the script and essentially like you're going to know like that script is going to be like a good script and it's going to push people to buy. And that's something where in the beginning, if I had something like that would help me a lot with the vitamin D3 and K2, where I would have eliminated a lot of those violations and things like that. That kind of scared me in the beginning because that happens to a lot of people. They get like the violations and then I think they get like a little bit scared from it. But yeah, I would just like first just try it, see if you like it. And then if it is something that you're like, that you enjoy kind of doing a little bit and stuff, try, mess around with some more products and stuff. And then if you are serious about it and stuff, and you want to like be in a group that's willing to, push you and kind of give you the tools to be successful with live streaming, then yeah, join the Live Academy for sure. It's a good little spot to learn some more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad too that you said like kind of explain the beginning part of your story, right? Because a lot of people they see, your success or somebody else's success with lives and they just think that it just happened overnight. When the reality of it is like you said, right? The first like month, you didn't really make any money. And I think a lot of people would have quit during that first month. and you just kept going. So a lot of people quit before they even, reach the gold. So I think that's a huge lesson for people out there that are getting started with live streams. Like, don't get discouraged when you're not seeing results and success right away. It is a process. It does make time. I don't know what other opportunity out there exists where you can literally find something that makes you thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars a day working from home, within a few months of trial and error and kind of, learning the ropes and kind of perfecting your craft. So, and then,
Yeah.
again, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is crazy, but like but there's also like there is like it's not just like you're just throwing like a dart at like a board and you're just trying to like you're hoping that you're going to hit something with it. Like there is strategies with it now. Like now that like I've had success with like a couple of products, it's like I know which products I'm going to try next, just based on what I've seen from like seen do well and stuff, and I know now like what to say during like live streams and stuff to like get sales and everything. So it is a skill set, which is like, because some people might think, oh, you picked a product, you got lucky with it, but I think there is definitely a good amount of like strategy with all of this stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely strategy involved. And you didn't just pick a product and get lucky. I mean, you had trial and error for a month with products that were, pretty hit and miss. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like a skill that's learned and developed over time. And obviously, we're all constantly evolving and trying to get better. But for those of you guys that do, want to kind of learn the skill sets, kind of just get the tools to give yourself a little bit of head start, we do have the Live Academy for you guys. Cole's a coach in there. I'm a coach in there. We also have some other coaches and a lot of other people in there that are absolutely killing it. There will be a link down in the bio for those of you guys that want to join that. But Cole, really appreciate you coming on today, man. I think this was super, super insightful. And I think the people that are watching are going to take a lot of nuggets and value from this, and kind of carry that into what they're doing with their own live stream. So really appreciate you coming on today, man. I want to thank you for that.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, and hopefully this pushes people to try live streaming, because again, if I just kept up videos, like I still post videos all the time, I see some success. I made a few $1,000s, which is great. That's cool. It's awesome to make a few $1,000s, but I have a extra 150,000 plus in my bank account just because I started live streaming, and I found a lot of success with that. So I think a lot of people could have success with the live streaming as well. So hopefully this pushes some more people to try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us, like live streamers, are kind of people that, we just didn't see the success as quickly as we wanted to with the videos. We're like, I'm just going to try lives, and then, mess around with it enough. And eventually you find out how it works and you start making some money with it. So again, man, really appreciate you coming on. You guys, that is going to wrap up this episode, but we will see you guys in the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks so much.